I'll read the whole list, and then tell the first from group 1. Then group 2, then 3 from group 3. Okay.
So you can you no, she's saying, yeah, let's do that. So you'll do that too. You'll read your whole list, and then you'll just
No, all our whole list are the same.
No, don't, yeah. Somebody's going to read the whole list.
I'm going to read the whole list. Okay. So I do the first report.
And she'll tell out of that what her top reading is. Okay.
That'll work.
Great. Okay. That'll work for me. Neil. Well, when Mary Nelle starts to present, she's going to read the whole list.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, where you are. Okay. Does that address your concern?
I wasn't a concern. I just wanted people to keep in mind.
It's a good, no, it's absolutely.
Did you get Claire's stuff from her?
So I didn't get anything else. I collected all of it.
Oh, you did all. Because she was waiting up there. I think she thought, okay, good. I didn't want her to stay up there.
Not doing anything with it at this point.
Hey, Potter.
All right.
Okay, can everybody please find a seat?
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
It's not on yet.
Yes, it is. It's on.
Oh, it is?
Yep. It's on. Come on in, please, everyone. Get a seat. Sit down. Sit
We
down.
need to kind of clean this up because it's being streamed, video streamed.
Oh.
Hey, they're making noise. Thank you. Where's that train whistle?
I'll get it.
Thank you. Okay. What a great conference. Hasn't it been wonderful? I think I told you on the first day you were going to work hard at this conference. And I think hard work can be fun. And I think we all found out that to be the case this week. I think we've all been to conferences where we go to the conference, we sit down, we listen to speakers who say interesting things, and then we get up and we go home. And we say to ourselves, well, that was nice, that was interesting, but so what? And that's what we did not want to happen with this conference. We wanted to be able to walk away with some ideas, some thoughts of what people found important, what people cared about. We know you care about Braille. We all care about Braille. But what do you care most about? And I think the process that we put in place has done that. I want to recognize our facilitators. They're talented, creative people who have really worked hard the last few days. And somebody's handing me something. Oh, a bunch of chips. Now let's see. What can I do with these? I can throw them into the audience and give them extra votes. Let's see. She handed me 6 chips.
You can give them back to Paul Edwards.
Give them back to Paul Edwards, right? Or whatever this means. Okay. So, the person who is really responsible for crafting much of what we did is our facilitator manager, the facilitator. What would you? We can come up with a name for her later. That's what I called her this morning. Our facilitator extraordinaire, Mary Nelle McLennan. Mary Nelle is the executive advisor to the president of APH. I asked her, but does he listen? You know.
You can advise.
So we all know what a hard job she has. And our other 3 facilitators are Frances Mary DeAndrea, the chair of BANA, consultant on things Braille, teacher. She was a 4th grade teacher, and she managed to run her groups. We heard, cute 4th grade jokes, and she did a great job. Our next group 3 was Diane Wormsley. You could tell that Diane teaches college and FM teaches elementary school. Diane's sessions were very professional and
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Diane's a professor at Central North Carolina University and lots of other things, too. And I'm a Braille expert from way back. And our fourth... right. Our fourth facilitator is Beth Caruso. I feel like I'm doing the Academy Awards here. Beth is the director of outreach for Perkins here. And she did a great job. So now what we're going to do... Oh, thank you. Yes. there. We also had one part-time facilitator, and that was Kim Charlson, who facilitated the first session of Group 1. So, Kim, thanks for your flexibility on that. Just as we have a facilitator extraordinaire, we also had a scribe extraordinaire, Neil Bernstein. Neil is the Research and Development Officer at NLS, and he is absolutely fabulous at multitasking. He can be doing 6 things and say, Neil, can you do this? Oh, yeah, sure, fine, and just does it quick. And Neil has been responsible for collecting all the information that's come out of all of these so that we can be sure and take it all back with us and have it to work with. The facilitator in Group 2 is Ed O'Reilly. Sorry, not the facilitator, the scribe. The scribe in Group 2 is Ed O'Reilly. Ed is the head of the NLS Collection Development Section. So if there's a book you really want, talk to Ed. The facilitator, scribe, thank you. So scribe in Group 3 was Vicky Hovel. And Vicky is the personal assistant to Pete Osborne from RNIB. I think they have left. But our own Claire, writer-editor of the NLS Publications and Media section, was the facilitator in Group 3 this afternoon. Scribe, why am I doing this? The scribe in the session this afternoon, Claire Rochstetzer. Sorry, Claire. And the scribe in Group 4 was John Bryant. John? And John is the head of the NLS Production Control Section. It's his responsibility to make sure all the books actually get created. Right. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to now turn this over to Mary Nelle, who's going to tell you about the priorities that were selected the earlier days of this week, and then what the groups did in this final session. Thank you.
Let me get my papers. They were down on this end, and a bottle of water.
Oh, and some tokens.
I'm sorry, Diane.
That's okay.
We have done a lot of talking this week, as have you. And now, some of you probably think that's not unusual for some of us, but there have been...
Microphone closer to the mic.
Oh, that's right. We were going to use... Hang on. Is this one on? Oh, okay. I have to turn the button, right? To cleverly turn the button on. Is that on? Now, okay.
We're going to use this one because we will be sharing with you the results from the session that just ended, and we thought the best way to do that was let the facilitators report from their individual results because it's so immediate. Let me just start out by saying about a year ago, Judy called me and said that Karen had proposed a conference, and that the conference be held that not only, as Judy said, not only offered presentation, but Judy and Karen were committed to creating, as I'm sure other people at NLS were, committed to creating a conference that left with a product. And Judy asked me if I would help her kind of brainstorm how we might do that. And would I be responsible for facilitating? Well, when I said yes, and this was a volunteer project, I had no idea that it meant 24 of those little suckers. But it did. And we have done it with your help, with your good ideas, with your participation. We have held 24 focus groups, so to speak, over the past 3 days. And now we're going to bring you the results. I'm going to start with one of my quotes about ideas. I just love quotes. This is a John Steinbeck quote, and I think it works well for us here. It says, "Ideas are like rabbits. You get a couple and learn how to handle them, and pretty soon you have a dozen." So that's actually what happened with your groups, with your breakouts. You may have an idea, and then you put a couple of them together, and pretty soon, not only did you have a dozen, sometimes you went twice through the alphabet. So what we want to do now is share with you the top priorities as they were reviewed from each of the 4 breakout sessions, and we're going to do that by topic area. And see if this makes sense. We're going to take each topic area and we'll look at the focus question and then share with you the most frequent of the votes that came from all 4 sessions. So we bubbled that up or boiled it up or down. We've had discussions of do you boil up or bubble up or boil down or whatever. But what we did was we consolidated those to eliminate duplicates, we didn't really eliminate anything. We rolled it together and put it in a concise statement that reflected that thought, a thought that happened 3 or 4 times from the various breakouts. And so I will review all of those priorities that came from each breakout, and then because this just happened and we haven't had time to compile it, we will give you the results from this session 6 that you just completed. So the 7 top priorities as moved forward from the 4 groups in Braille readers, given the task to identify factors, both positive and negative, that currently impact the usability and availability of Braille by people who are blind. Those 7 were: lack of effective instruction due to number of qualified teachers. The second was devices for Braille writing and reading are expensive or inconvenient. Need a low-cost, good quality Braille display with at least 40 cells. The next was lack of available transcribers. The fourth, misperception about Braille, including that it's only for people who are totally blind. The fifth was cost of production, causing Braille to be marginalized in favor of audio. The sixth was availability of material, more Braille instructional material needed in public domain. And the seventh was access to images in hard copy Braille is difficult and more costly to produce, non-existent in electronic Braille. So now those were the 7 that accumulated from all 4 groups. Just a moment ago, you prioritized that. I will report from group 1. Then FM from 2, Diane from 3, and Beth from 4. Group 2 chose as our first, did I say 2? Duh. I have talked too much. Yeah, we're getting a little weary. Group 1, the ones that met in this room. The first choice was devices for reading and writing are expensive or inconvenient. Need a low-cost, good-quality Braille display with at least 40 cells. The second priority was cost of production, causing Braille to be marginalized in favor of audio. And the third, misperception about Braille, including that it's only for people who are totally blind. Okay? Now we'll hear from Group 2.
Okay. And Group 2 chose exactly those same 3 items about the need for a low-cost Braille display, about the misconceptions of Braille, and the cost of production. Yep.
In the same sequence?
I don't know. Remember, we didn't.
Okay.
You didn't tell us the sequence.
And Group 3 chose for the first priority, lack of effective instruction due to number of qualified teachers. And then the second was cost of production causing Braille to be marginalized in favor of audio. And the third was devices for reading and writing are expensive or inconvenient, need a low-cost, good-quality Braille display with at least 40 cells.
Okay. And Group 4.
So in no particular order, the 3 that we chose were lack of effective instruction due to number of qualified teachers, devices for reading and writing are expensive or inconvenient, need a low-cost, good-quality Braille display with at least 40 cells, and cost of production causing Braille to be marginalized in favor of audio. So clearly we all chose number 5, cost of production and devices for reading and writing.
Pretty amazing. Okay. The second breakout, the second topic, was Braille selection. And there you were asked to identify factors that could be changed to improve the effectiveness of Braille title selection for NLS and its network of libraries. The 7 that were brought forward from the 4 groups were 1, make available Braille copy from publisher without limits when book is released in print. 2, provide cost-effective Braille display with internet capability, making it easy for those without computers to get Braille content. 3, select material based on mainstream popularity. Drop library model and produce material that is peer normative. 4, policy of requiring hard copy for every book needs to be mitigated. 5, produce more books with pictures, picture descriptions, and tactile graphics. 6, instruction books on learning Braille. Develop Braille material, learning material, and age-appropriate materials for late adopters. And the last of those was develop an infrastructure to support on-demand production. Group 1's choices, the top was develop an infrastructure to support on-demand production. Their second priority was make available Braille copy from publisher without limits when a book is released in print. And then we had a tie for third place. Because of time, we decided to bring them both forward. One was number 4. Policy of requiring hard copy book for every book needs to be mitigated. And the second third was produce more books with pictures, picture descriptions, and tactile graphics. Okay, FM, Group 2.
Okay. Group 2 selected in no particular order, or I'm presenting them in no particular order. Policy of requiring hard copy for every book needs to be mitigated. The need for more instruction books on learning Braille, especially age-appropriate materials for late adopters. And our third selection was an infrastructure to support on-demand Braille production.
Okay, Diane, Group 3.
This one's more interesting. Our high priority was produce more books with pictures, picture descriptions, and tactile graphics, and then instruction books on learning Braille, develop Braille learning materials, and age-appropriate materials for late adopters. And our third was provide a cost-effective Braille display with internet capability, making it easy for those without computers to get Braille content.
And Beth, group 4.
Again, in no particular order. Number 1, make available Braille copy from publisher without limits when book is released in print. Number 2, provide cost-effective Braille display with internet capability, making it easy for those without computers to get Braille content. And number 7, develop an infrastructure to support on-demand production.
Thank you, Beth. Any surprises there? No? That's probably a good thing. Oh, group 3, or topic 3, was Braille production. And your focus question was, how can NLS produce Braille that is more flexible, affordable, and practical? The 9 that bubbled up or boiled down are, there needs to be a portable Braille, There needs to be a portable, refreshable Braille device capable of displaying grades 1 and 2 with translation in the device and a built-in dictionary. The second was NLS to sponsor innovative technology competition for refreshable Braille technology. The third one, adopt varying levels of quality depending on the material. Fourth, engineer affordable, low-cost, full-page Braille display with graphics capability. 5, create system which will enable Braille production on demand. 6, work with mainstream publishers for EPUB or source file access. 7, community must take a proactive role in encouraging all companies and organizations to provide materials in Braille. The 8th item, 1 cent for every book sold goes to NLS. And the 9th, universal design, work with mainstream manufacturers to incorporate Braille. Group number 1, those who met in this room, we came up with four 7s. So we just gave ourselves the license to move all 4 forward. So they were, the first one, there needs to be a portable, refreshable Braille device capable of displaying grades 1 and 2 with translation in the device and a built-in dictionary. The next one was adopt varying levels of quality depending on the material. Then we chose number 4, engineer affordable, low-cost, full-page Braille display with graphics capability. And our 4th, number 7, was work with mainstream publishers for EPUB or source file access. Group 2?
Group 2 selected, adopting varying levels of quality depending on the material, creating a system that will enable Braille on demand, and the one about universal design, working with mainstream manufacturers to incorporate Braille.
All right. Diane will report on 3.
Group 3 chose there needs to be a portable, refreshable Braille device capable of displaying grades 1 and 2 with translation in the device and a built-in dictionary. Number 5, creating system which will enable Braille production on demand, and then work with mainstream publishers for EPUB or source file access.
Okay. Beth?
We chose NLS to sponsor innovative technology competition for refreshable Braille technology. Also, adopt varying levels of quality depending upon the material, and work with mainstream publishers for EPUB or source file access.
Pretty consistent. The 4th panel and breakout address the items and issues of Braille technology. The focus question was, how can the Braille services of NLS and its network of libraries be improved by new uses of technology? We had 8 items that were moved forward from the 4 breakouts. And those are 1, inexpensive, quick, durable, and easy-to-use refreshable Braille displays for patrons with built-in dictionary. Now, our group did note that the dictionary is not supposed to be built into the patron. But anyway, Braille displays for patrons with built-in dictionary, capacity to translate contracted and uncontracted Braille. It was getting late. Number 2, 1 device for patrons to handle audio and Braille and receive materials via the cloud with NLS funding mobile connectivity. 3, leverage the advantages of DAISY structure with contracted Braille content, in other words, DAISY Braille. 4 was develop software that can take an electronically published material and put it into any electronically published material and put it into properly formatted and encoded Braille. Align specifications for Braille production with mainstream publishing formats. Number 5 was explore ways to make tactile graphics and Braille more available through capacity sharing. Number 6, explore the use of 3D printing in Braille production. 7 was multi-format file delivery capability, contracted and uncontracted Braille. And 8, a device for young children to learn Braille, such as Leapfrog. Group 1 chose as its number 1 priority, develop software that can take any electronically published material and put it into properly formatted and encoded Braille. Align specifications for Braille production with mainstream publishing formats. 2nd was inexpensive, quick, durable, and easy-to-use refreshable Braille displays for those patrons with built-in dictionary. Capacity to transcribe contracted and uncontracted Braille. And the 3rd choice was leverage the advantages of DAISY structure with contracted Braille content, DAISY Braille.
Okay, group 2. And I do remember that ours were very close together. So we had, I think, a 3-way tie for the first one, but they were all very close. And the three items that were selected were the refreshable Braille display for patrons who happen to have a built-in dictionary. The advantages of DAISY structure, creating DAISY Braille, and the 3rd choice was the 3D printing for Braille production.
And our group chose for the first one, the patrons with the built-in dictionaries. The refreshable Braille display. And then the second one was leverage the advantages of DAISY structure with contracted Braille content. And the 3rd one was develop software which can take any electronically published Braille material and put it into properly formatted and encoded Braille, align specifications for Braille production with mainstream publishing formats.
Okay, and Beth for number 4.
So you're talking about patrons having dictionaries in their brain, and we were talking about adding and can deal with K-cups to that. So I think it depended on the energy level in the room for sure. But we did not choose that item. The 3 that the group in the breakout room 4 chose were number 4, develop software which can take any electronically published material and put it into properly formatted and encoded Braille. Align specifications for Braille production with the mainstream publishing formats. We also chose explore the use of 3D printing in Braille production. And the last one was a device for young children to learn Braille like Leapfrog.
The last discussion topic that we addressed was Braille literacy and promotion. And of course, that's the one we did this morning. The question for us to focus upon was how can NLS and its network of libraries impact the future of Braille? There were 8 items brought forward from the 4 groups. 1. NLS should launch a Braille is Cool or Got Braille marketing campaign, partnering with celebrities and young adult authors to promote Braille, demonstrating the importance of Braille literacy in daily life. The second item was help bring low-cost, refreshable Braille technology to market. The third, develop accurate and positive statistics with all stakeholders about Braille literacy, children and adults. The fourth was develop a Braille literacy kit to help potential readers get started, practical guides for survival Braille. The fifth was NLS should be the government printing house for Braille. 6, work with government agencies to have Braille added to all consumer packages. 7, encourage NLS libraries to involve their patrons in community library programs to model Braille literacy. And the 8th was all libraries dust off image and reinvent themselves as modern information access centers, be more electronic. Group 1, again, had a tie, and we moved all 4 forward. Our first was number 1. NLS should launch a Braille is Cool or Got Braille marketing campaign, partnering with celebrities and young adult authors to promote Braille, demonstrating the importance of Braille literacy in daily life. Our second was 10 votes. Work with government agencies to have Braille added to all consumer packages. And we had 2/3. Well, this says packages, but we mean packaging, same thing. 4, develop a Braille literacy kit to help potential readers get started. Practical guides for survival Braille. And the other third was number 8. All libraries dust off image and reinvent themselves as modern information access centers, be more electronic. Group 2.
Okay, Group 2 selected. The launching of a Braille is Cool or Got Braille marketing campaign. The other second selection was working with government agencies to have Braille added to consumer packages or packaging or products. And then our third selection was dusting off our image and reinventing libraries as modern information access centers.
Thank you, FM. Diane?
And our 3, the top one was NLS should launch a Braille is Cool or Got Braille marketing campaign. The next one was number 3, develop accurate and positive statistics with all stakeholders about Braille literacy, children and adults. And the final one was develop a Braille literacy kit to help potential readers get started with practical guides for survival Braille.
And Beth.
So before I read our list, because the suspense is killing you, I know, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who at least came through the room I was in for participating so actively and really sharing so much with us. I appreciate it. You made my job easier, and a kudos to John, who worked with me. I have to say that publicly. Thank you. So group number 4 chose number 1, NLS should launch a Braille is Cool or a Got Braille marketing campaign. Now, yesterday we were doing Braille is the musical in our rooms, so I think that's a strong one. The next one was help bring low-cost, refreshable Braille technology to market. And the last one was work with government agencies to have Braille added to all consumer packages.
Thank you, Beth. Now, I'd like you to congratulate yourselves. Yay. As I said on the first day, we were facilitators, we were scribes, but the content was yours. The ideas, the innovations, the energy that pushes us forward really came from you. So I want to echo what Beth said to each of you that participated and participated willingly. As an aside, I will say it was interesting to see the dynamics change on that first day when we had fairly large groups and we were dealing with the topic of Braille readers. You were terrific. You put forth your ideas. You did what we asked, but you did so with a bit of caution and a bit of self-protection. By today, it was a completely different matter. You were relaxed. You were able to exchange ideas. You were able to challenge a bit. You were able to share, to synergize, and to have really, I think, a good time. So thank you very much for that. Diane wants to say something. Hang on, we're not through.
I just wanted to say the sharing extended in our group to the sharing of tokens.
Got to be a story there. You want to elaborate?
Well, we have Paul Edwards to thank for that. Yes, Paul seemed to have a little 3D printer near him where he was creating additional tokens, or his friends were giving them to him.
Okay. So Paul was, yes, Paul.
It was so funny.
Vote early, vote often. Well, certainly we appreciate the energy and the effort you put into this and the fact that you hung in there with us. But these, as I said, these were your ideas. I'm going to end with two things. One is two quotes, I'll say. There are two quotes, and then I'll turn this over to Karen. One is another quote about ideas, and it came from Émile Cartier. Nothing is more dangerous than an idea when it's the only one you have. And obviously, you folks have many more than one. And together you have generated this plethora of good ideas, good strategies, and an awful lot of work for some folks I know at NLS. But we want to make sure that you know that none of these ideas that you put forward will be lost, even though many of those did not appear on the lists we read today or the list we addressed in the priority setting. They have not been lost. NLS already has all of your ideas, and they are set so that even the details that does everyone that was offered is listed in a way that it's shown which of these priorities it informed or it led to. So those ideas are there. They're in the record. They will be shared. And I will let Karen and Judy follow up more on how those will be shared. But again, I want to thank you and tell you it was certainly a pleasure to work with you. It was a different kind of group, certainly a different kind of group process, and it was great. So the last quote I want to leave you is one from my dad. Sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to be tearful. But he said, we should always dream with our sleeves rolled up. So I ask you to dream and to work and to make these things happen. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know that was going to happen. Karen, I have the hand mic. And
you're using that instead of the
we were, but it's your choice.
Okay, so shut that one. You want the hand mic?
No.
Okay. The podium mic?
Yeah, I'd rather have the podium mic. I can't read and hold a mic at the same time, and I'd have to get one of my staff to come up here and hold the mic for me so I could read. So this is why I use the staff. Before I have on the schedule, I have an hour and 5 minutes.
Oh, Karen.
Yes.
Sorry. May I say one other thing?
You may.
This was also a quote from my dad, which won't make me cry. And my dad said, when I realized this was going to wrap up a little bit early, my dad always said, there's no such thing as a bad short sermon. So.
Do you think she's trying to tell me something here? Let me introduce Stephen Rothstein, who has something he wants to tell you.
And I'll only use an hour of the hour and 5 minutes, I promise. No, just one is I'm saying this partially for the record that there's been an enormous amount of Perkins staff involved. I'm going to thank them individually, but I want to, on record, thank them all. I'm not going to list them here. Second is a reminder that all of this that happened in this room, normally you'd say, what happens in Watertown stays in Watertown. Well, it doesn't stay in Watertown. And it's actually already on perkins.org. And it's, it's both been streaming live and recorded, so you can go back to look at that and summer highlights or other kinds of things. Third is to thank Karen and Judy for their leadership, and they helped us kind of ring the bell for Braille, and to give them, I have a handmade, individually made bell that our students made. So Karen, one for you, and Judy, one for you. And thank you. And while I can't compete with your dad's quote, I do, in thinking about, all of the energy in this building in the last 3 days, I am reminded when John Kennedy was president, he had all the Nobel Prize winners at the White House. And he said, I think this is the most extraordinary collection of talent, of human knowledge, that has ever gathered together in the White House, with the possible exception of when Thomas Jefferson dined alone. When you think about Braille, I think this room is the largest collection and the most smart people, except for when Louis Braille worked alone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. About 15 months ago or so, I took the helm at NLS, and one of the first things that came to me was Ed O'Reilly with this letter from Kim saying, you know what, Kim says that you should have, or we should have, a Braille Summit of some sort. So I was holding this, although Ed sort of stole my thunder, but I was holding this till now to make sure it came off well, because we all planned really hard, but I wanted to see how it would go. Kim started this. She planted the seeds, and I want a round of applause for Kim for the idea. And I also want to thank the team at NLS that worked hard to put this together. Judy Dixon. And Steve Prine. And Claire Roystasher. Did I say that right? As well as Kim and Suzanne Monroe for dealing with a lot of the logistics. So thanks so much for everybody who put this together. And let's don't forget Ed and John and Michael Katzman, who are the people who are probably going to have to carry out a lot of this stuff. We have in this group, as Stephen said, some of the brightest people in the field. We have representatives from Braille readers, from educators and teachers. Is that the same thing, educators and teachers? I don't know. We have rehabilitation and independent living people. We have consumer group representatives. We have transcribers, proofreaders, instructional materials center staff. We have the BANA board, or at least half of it. We have NLS network libraries represented. We have schools. We have Braille producers. We have Braille technology experts. We have technology vendors. We have International Council of English Braille, and we have people from the DAISY Transforming Braille Consortium. This is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. We also have an average of 30 to 40 streamers for each of the sessions online, who we don't know who they are. They are hiding from us. But the idea of this conference was to get not only the dreams that I have had as a Braille reader and as an administrator, but also to get a broad perspective on the issues that touch every aspect of the Braille world. We did that. This is really fantastic. I just cannot thank all of you enough for all of the work that you put into this and for all of the time and the brain power that's gone into these last 3 days. And for all the food, too. P.S., that was a lot of food. But you need a lot of food when you have to make a lot of decisions and think a lot. So I'm sure that's all part of it. Anyway, so what's next? Well, here's what we're going to do in the short term. People have been asking me, when's the next conference? And I'm like, I'm not there yet. But we are going to take all of this information back to Washington, and we are going to compile it into a formal report. And we will share that report with anybody who is interested. I think we can definitely let people know when it's up. We've got all your email addresses, so we will definitely let you know when it's done. We don't do anything real fast in Washington. So it will take a little bit of time because there's a lot of information to compile. And what we're going to do after we get through the information that we've gathered here is that we are going to construct for NLS a strategic plan for the next 5 years. That plan will incorporate the ideas that you have come up with that are relevant to NLS, some of them. Some things that you've suggested are probably outside of our scope. Some things that you've suggested we're going to suggest that some of the other players in the field look at. Some things that you've suggested will have to be group efforts. But NLS is going to look at this. We're going to build a strategic plan, and it's going to incorporate the priorities that you have established today. We will be putting that together. We will be making it public when it's done. And those are the next 2 steps from the NLS perspective. I hope that those of you from other organizations have been able to pick up pieces of information and ideas here during this 3-day extravaganza as well, so that you can take back these ideas and perhaps incorporate some of them into your own work. This is an NLS and Perkins conference, but it's for everybody, so I think there's something here for each and all. And with that, in view of the fact that I still have an hour left, I am going to suggest that we call it a day. Thank you so much. I love this bell. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Have a safe trip home. Wow. Oh. We made it. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
We made it.
I think our last session was the most fun. Huh? I think our last session was the most fun. Cole and Tug were like little boys giggling down there because they were sharing. Oh God, was it mine?